Now, obviously, Elon's
Yeah.
his time at Doge is finishing. His time with Trump, well, it's changing. Let me put it that way. What's he going to do next?
Well, he's got a lot of things that to get back on, program. As I've said, the rocket. As he actually gave a speech somewhere a week ago in which he said something that I've said a few times, and that is that he would have liked to have been where he is now about 5 or 6 years ago.
Right.
And he actually said this last week at some function. He said, "I would like to have been where I am now with the spaceship, with the Starship, maybe 5 or 6 years or 7 years ago." And yeah, so it's difficult, and the difficulties of getting to Mars. Earth orbit is one thing, low Earth orbit is one thing, but the difficulty of getting to Mars, putting people in a pod, tell them you're never going to come back. They're going to take 18 months and they're going to sit in a pod together. I mean, this is, or whatever period it is, when the two planets are very close together, which I think is in 1932, 2032 or something. It's not really feasible. It's a bit like going to Columbus's time and saying, Columbus walking around on the dock in Sagres, Portugal, I imagine, and saying, "Look, I want to head off, that way, into the west. I'm looking for people to join me, and everybody, well, but you're going to fall off the edge, you're going to fall off the edge of the world there." And there were people who were scholars at the time who had concluded that the world was round.
Yes.
But because of the church being what it was, you didn't go around broadcasting those things. I mean, this was 1492.
Yeah.
In 1541 or something, Copernicus waited until he was told that he's really on his last few days before he published his book, that the Earth goes around the sun.
Right.
Because he knew that they'd burn him at the stake otherwise. And as you know, Galileo immediately took this up and said, yes, Copernicus is right, the Earth goes around the sun, upon which immediately Galileo was sentenced to death by the church. Oh, yes. And because he was such a popular man, it was commuted to house arrest for life until he died. He was never allowed out of his house for the rest of his life because he said the Earth goes around the sun, or he agreed with Copernicus. Now, so it's all very well being smart, Alec, and saying yes, but people around, that's 50 years before that Columbus set off, before Copernicus and Galileo's problems, and there were probably people who were quietly sure the Earth is round, but the man on the wharf, the average fishermen and boaters and stuff, they didn't have that sort of insight. And so when Columbus said, "Look, I want to head off in this little boat that you see here, and we're going to go that way," and can you imagine that? I'm equating this to going to Mars in a little capsule.
Yeah.
And the people saying, "But won't we fall off?"
Yes.
No. But Columbus saying, I've heard that you don't fall off. You wind up in India."
Right.
And how does that work? India's that way.
Yes.
Yes, but if you go this way, you come around. And can you imagine the people of those days were saying, "I don't know, it doesn't sound. I think you got it wrong.
Yeah.
You're going to fall off, man. You're going to fall off."
Yeah.
You see. And so the blokes who did get into the boat with Columbus must have been either seriously drunk or seriously something, because by the time they came to, they were well offshore and they couldn't go back. And he was saying, "We're going to keep going this way." And can you imagine? I mean, I've done ocean crossings in yachts. It's scary enough even today, and with all the things you have, GPS and everything. But to have done it in those days
It was phenomenal. And as you say, we've got this revolution now, the seismic advances in that sort of stuff, with more and more people traveling.